Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Yes, this is good news. I am your last speaker, and you should be excited about that. This is the time of the evening when you either wish you had been to more gubernatorial funerals, or you wish we really did have a two-term governor, because you'd only have 5 speakers tonight, and it would be better for all of you. But it's a real pleasure to be in the presence of so many other governors who have done marvelous work for the Commonwealth of Virginia. Bob Gibson, John Hager, thanks for your leadership. Bob gave me a choice tonight as the current governor as to whether I wanted to be first or last. And he said, I'd recommend you go last, but he said there's a downside. One, only probably half the people will still be there, but the ones that are left will be sufficiently inebriated that they'll think you're funny. So I thought that was a pretty good position to have. Bob, I do want to thank you and John for your great work at the Sorensen Institute, and Lee Middleditch and others who came up with a vision many years ago. I remember when Bill Wood came to see me probably 10, 15 years ago and told me about this vision for Sorensen, and that it was truly going to be a bipartisan approach to cultivate emerging leaders, to raise up the best and brightest people from the new young generation to be the future leaders of Virginia and America. And you've been true to your word, because the people that have graduated have gone into marvelous positions in the state legislature, in business, and other places in government, have truly been public service. So I thank Sorensen for being true to the word. It's been bipartisan, it's been focused, it's trained people and exposing them to the very top people in state and local and federal government. So Sorensen Institute, job well done. Thank you very much for your good work. Well, I want to thank my former client, Tim Kaine, for that nice introduction. He was a very easy client to have because he was gone all the time in D&C business, so I never had to do any work for him, and that was a pretty easy gig to have. Now, the trick that he played on me, I should be music to Warner's ears, because what he did is he left a couple of cell phones in really mysterious places all over the governor's mansion, like the top of the elevator in the closets, that had a ring that sounded like a ghost. And he'd call frequently after midnight. Cha-ching for Warner, but my kids were really scared, Tim. Thanks a lot. Thanks a lot for that warm welcome. Jerry, thank you for your hearty endorsement on a transportation plan. I'm very grateful for your kind remarks about that. I never thought I'd be in the same company of Harry Byrd, Dwight Eisenhower. That's really a rare company to be in. But honestly, you know, if you hadn't screwed up that transportation bill and indexed it for inflation, we wouldn't be talking about this today. So thanks a lot for that, too. I appreciate my friend Doug Wilder for being here, a historic figure. He's been an advisor to me on and off during the campaigns. I really appreciate his 2 incredibly strong, hearty non-endorsements in my race that propelled me to victory. Doug, thank you for that help as well. And it's actually nice to be with George Allen and Tim Kaine in the same room. Both of them are working hard, raising money, competing ferociously for a job that Mark Warner said neither one of them really want. So I really think that's pretty exciting. Jim, I want to say you gave me my theme for governor, is reduce your message to 3 words. So I was Bob's for jobs, and that really worked, and I know that either Bob McAuliffe or Bob Cuccinelli or Bob Bowling will be adopting that same bumper sticker when they run for office, George, because you know it's all about jobs, still is. So because if people have access to the American dream, they're happy about it. Well, you know, I'm glad to be with all these governors, but I do have to have a confession to make. You know, the first 2 governors of Virginia were Jefferson and Henry. So when I'm talking about the governors of Virginia, I have to admit, I skipped the 8 of you. I talk about Henry, Jefferson, and McDonnell, so I'm sorry about that one. This kind of got a nice ring to it. Although Mr. Jefferson, much to his discredit, only listed 3 things on his tombstone: author of the Declaration of Independence, author of the Statute for Religious Freedom, and founder of the University of Virginia. So I will have legislation next year to change his tombstone to add that he was governor of Virginia, because I'm sure he would be most happy about that. Well, My job tonight is we all had our topics that we were to talk about, and I wanted to talk about my assigned topic, which is the Virginia way. It's something we all talk about a lot. It's something that all the governors before me and all the great work that you know that they did, that they recounted for you that they did, have all embraced. It's been a tradition of civility and cooperation that has been alive now for 2 centuries in Virginia, until 4 o'clock this afternoon when they voted on the budget, in which it took a shot. I'll discuss that in a minute. But I do want to say, again, to my friend Tim Kaine, that I appreciate him being there at Virginia Tech last night, because it was a remembrance of some of the finest things that have happened in our Commonwealth in reacting to some of the great tragedies and how our people respond. They show us the way in what the Virginia way is all about. It's something that I've seen close and personal during the 2.5 years that I've been governor. Just a couple weeks after I became governor, 3 blizzards. The first 3 weekends I was governor, I was really bad luck for the weather, if you remember. But to see our first responders, our National Guard, our leaders out there braving the elements to truly do heroic acts, to be able to do things, to be able to keep people safe in tremendously difficult positions, was the kind of sacrifice and the standards that we expect out of people in Virginia. We saw it duplicated when tornadoes ripped through Pulaski County and Glade Spring and Halifax and the Northern Neck last April, in that outbreak of over 30 tornadoes, where people worked together, literally sacrificing their own lives to rescue their neighbor, and then giving incredibly generously $2 million of money given out of the private pockets of citizens to do what the federal government wouldn't do, and that is to be able to provide individual relief for our citizens. An enormous expression of care and charity and love for one's fellow neighbor. We saw it again last summer, the week of what I call earth, wind, and fire. You remember we had an earthquake, a hurricane, and the Dismal Swamp was on fire all in the same week last year, and Virginians rallying together in the same kind of way. Their incredible training coming to bear on this first responders and what they did. And then once again, people showing their incredible compassion for one another. That to me is the spirit of our people that I know my fellow governors got to see during their own experiences as well, whether it was Governor Gilmore during 9/11 or others, and seeing the spirit of the Virginia people coming together, disregarding sometimes their own comfort and their own well-being to do those things that mattered to other people. It's something that I think grows out of the very great traditions of our country, the Judeo-Christian tradition of the Golden Rule, doing unto others as we would have them do unto us. Remembering the words of Jesus in the Scriptures, who said that the greatest among you is a servant of all, as he officiated a debate between his disciples about who would be great. That's, to me, what this Virginia way is all about. Things that I think George and Mark and others talked about, things that Reagan said, that it's amazing how much you can get done if you don't care who gets the credit. And to the degree that people in public life embrace that spirit, that golden rule, that sense of service and charity and benevolence and care and compassion and love for one another, and bring that into the public square, we will be, in fact, a better state and a better nation. I've seen that in the legislature these past couple of years. When I became governor, we had a significant downturn in the economy. As you know, $6 billion deficit spread over 3 years. And working together, Democrats and Republicans said, listen, this is not the time for us to raise taxes, put new burdens on business and individuals. We've got to find a way to set priorities, to be able to cut spending, to do what families and businesses are doing in their own way. And they found a way to get together and reduce state spending without raising taxes and get a budget done essentially on time. It has resulted over the last couple of years in nearly $1 billion in budget surpluses, money that's been poured back into transportation and the rainy day fund and some other things that continue to make our state fiscally strong. It's something I saw in the way people bound together, Republicans and Democrats, to usher in education reform that first session with charter school and college lab school and virtual school and other changes in our K-12 education system that created some real choice and new opportunities for our young people all across the Commonwealth. It was that same spirit of the Virginia Way last year when we took on the challenge of addressing double-digit college tuition increases over the last decade, less people having access to the American dream, less slots in the Virginia colleges, and as a result of great leadership, and Rosalind Dance was a huge part of that, I see here tonight, along with Tommy Norman and Kirk Cox and others, and Ed Houck, finding ways, Republicans and Democrats, to get together and on a 140-0 vote, reform our higher education system, lay the foundations for more money, 100,000 new degrees over the next 15 years on STEM areas that'll create those great jobs, George, that you talked about in the next couple of years. By the way, I want to thank Governor Kane and Governor Warner for adding back in those 75% of the regulations that Governor Allen cut, so I can now turn around and cut those back out and make government more efficient. I appreciate that good work as well. It's also the Virginia way, I think, that caused us to be able to work together this year to take on something that's is eluded us for a while, and that is the tough stuff of reforming the pension system of Virginia. Nearly $20 billion of unfunded liabilities. Not a sexy topic, but one that governors across the country are struggling with. And Republicans and Democrats this session were able to get together and find a way to overwhelmingly pass a pension reform that the bond rating agencies just said yesterday was credit positive and reduce our unfunded liabilities by $9 billion, the most significant reform of our pension system, along with the greatest funding of pension liabilities in history, $2.1 billion approved by both houses. So there is a way, Republicans and Democrats, no matter how different our upbringing may be, no matter how different our faith traditions may be, no matter how different our districts may be that we represent, there is a way to find a bridge to the common ground of doing what's right for our state, to put that partisanship aside, to embrace civility, to embrace the highest traditions of Virginia that have been alive and well since Jefferson penned those words in the 236 years ago, that we do everything that we can to make sure those inalienable rights are first and foremost protected. That is the Virginia way. For the most part, it is something that we embrace daily in the General Assembly. I do have to say that I was disappointed today. I do think the Virginia way took a hit. We're today a divided Senate for the third time, killed the budget here now in the middle of April over an earmark for a rail project in one area of the state. Now, there are clearly differences on transportation that we have to address, but I don't think that that is the Virginia way, and I'd be remiss if I didn't say that. But I think we're going to find a way to work it out. I've been assured by Bob Gibson tonight that there are 20 slots in remedial training available now at the Sorensen Institute for me to send some of those senators back to so they can get a refresher course on civility and cooperation and the Virginia way. So thank you, Bob, for making those slots available tuition-free to my friends in the Virginia Senate. Hey, well, listen, this has been so much fun. I think we should start over. I'm going to bring Governor Holton back up, and we're going to start around round two of this. I know you all just can't wait for another action-packed 9 speeches. But I know that every one of my previous 8 colleagues that have been up here would just truly say that being governor for this 4 short years is an enormous privilege. To truly have the same job of a Jefferson or a Henry or a Monroe or one of the other greats that have gone before us is an amazing privilege. The benefit of being a one-term governor is you are in a hurry. You're always free to do the right thing because you don't have to worry about re-election. As it has been said by many of my predecessors, there is no higher honor. I consider it an incredible privilege for an average middle-class kid from Northern Virginia to have the same time of Thomas Jefferson. We all have had a lot of fun here tonight talking to you about the great things about our state. Let us make sure that as we go forth, we celebrate the best things about Virginia, You've heard the accolades, the most business-friendly state in America, the best place in America to raise a child, the best managed state. These are all things that Republicans and Democrats get the credit for because we do work together, and that's why we're such a great state. So let's embrace that. Let's be good cheerleaders and champions for the best about Virginia as we leave here tonight. Sorensen Institute, job well done. God bless you.